hi, Jenna.
Well, hi, Shelby.
How you doing today?
Oh, pretty good.
Fantastic.
Yeah, we've got lots of good books to talk about today.
We're just going to continue to add to your TBR because that's what we're good at.
Yep. Always got to find new books. But we're going to talk about some of the books that we just finished, some ones that we're working on right now, and what we think we're going to work on next.
Heck yes. As always, go give us a follow on our social medias. We are Miss Willa's Book Club Pod on Instagram and TikTok, and we do full videos on YouTube. So if you're watching on YouTube, give us a thumbs up.
Yeah, awesome.
Awesome. Well, we've got our last now next.
Yeah, let's take it away. We'll try and keep this pretty spoiler-free, so shouldn't be too concerned if you haven't read any of these books.
Yeah.
We'll try to keep the entire episode spoiler-free for you.
Maybe, do we want to give our ratings for the ones that we have read?
Oh, yeah.
Sweet.
Absolutely.
Fantastic.
Awesome. Well, why don't you start us off with your most recently finished book?
All right. My most recently finished book is one that we actually just did an episode on. It's Powerless by Lauren Roberts. I gave this a 4. This would be a great intro to fantasy. I really enjoyed this book. It was basically Peyton, who is an ordinary, is put into these trials. So if you like trials, this is a really good read for you. And yeah, that's
I just
Powerless.
I just read Powerless too. I was just looking at my Goodreads and I did only give it 3.5.
Yeah.
I realized, but it was good. It was not super memorable.
Yeah.
But I think to your point, maybe because we've read a lot of other.
I think so too.
books.
So a little bit of a spoiler, but not a spoiler on like the actual book. If you've read a lot of fantasy romance recently, it might not be as exciting, but if you're trying to get into the genre, it's a really good one to get started.
Yeah, absolutely.
Sweet. Well, what's yours? Oh my gosh.
I know. So my other most recently finished book is The Words of Radiance. This is the same book split into 2 parts.
Look how massive they are.
But yes, this is the second book of the Stormlight Archive by Brandon Sanderson. And I think this is probably, I'm assuming, his best known series. He's got book 5 coming out later this year too.
Gosh.
And it was easily 5 stars. This was definitely the best book I've ever read in my entire life. Without question, which is crazy because I think if you had asked me before reading this, I probably couldn't have given you just one. I would have listed out, a bunch that are in the top and they probably rotate.
Okay.
But yeah, by far best book I've ever read. He writes characters so well. It's such an interesting, political and magic climate kind of thing. It's just such an expansive world that is so different and complex, but still feels easy to understand, and that you really can pick it up even though it's so much going on. And I just really enjoy his writing too.
Yeah.
So, and I love the characters in it too. And I was really if you've read Words of Radiance, I was really cackling when 2 specific characters finally meet in this book and their interactions were just so funny.
Oh my gosh.
So yeah, it was really good. I loved it.
Oh my gosh, I love that.
Yeah, the first book is The Way of Kings if you want to read the Stormlight Archives. But I actually maybe I'll have to do another video at some point talking about my recommended reading order. But
oh my gosh,
it was amazing.
And I love that. I don't think you can see it in the video, but Jenna basically has an entire shelf dedicated to Brandon Sanderson.
Oh, I do. Yeah. So basically one of these whole sections like this is all just Brandon Sanderson, and they don't even really fit. They're all stacked on top of each other.
But the what is that? What is the series called?
The Stormlight Archives.
The Stormlight Archives are all so pretty together. They're all got the
different
colors.
colored.
Oh,
yeah.
It's so beautiful. I'm so jealous.
I love them. They're beautiful.
Oh, well, that's really exciting.
Yeah.
My next one isn't as well known. My other most recent read is A Kingdom of Blood and Salt by Alexis Calder. I read it on my Kindle, but I loved this book. I gave it a 4 stars, but I think that's because I can't give anything 5 stars right now.
Yeah.
And one of the things that I was thinking about when we were finishing out our Powerless episode is after House of Flame and Shadow, I have been in the worst reading slump.
Oh my gosh, me too.
And I don't know if it was because it was just so much information or such a long book, but I have not wanted to pick anything up.
I've really struggled since then too, and I kind of wondered if it's that was such an anticipated read for me and then such a letdown a little bit for me. Yeah, it did fall flat, and I had the same thing. I've kind of had a little bit of a reading slump since then, and Words of Radiance really helped get me out of it. And especially because it is epic high fantasy without the romance really at all, and so it was a different type of story. So I wasn't comparing it at all, which I think was really good.
Yeah, because even like Powerless, I felt like I was still comparing it a little bit to like ACOTAR and Crescent City because it was so similar to that.
Absolutely.
And so this one was just like easier of a read. The Goodreads description is it's an epic enemies to lover fantasy romance, perfect for fans of JLA, Raven Kennedy, and Sarah J. Maas. After spending years training to defend my people from our enemies, I never expected that my enemy would be the one keeping me alive. Athos is the last human city. A treaty with the Fae keeps the Fae, the vampires, and the wolf shifters at bay while we fight against the dragons at our border. Being a human in this world is dangerous, and we all make sacrifices to survive. When the delegation sent by the Fae King arrives to claim the human tributes required by our treaty, I never expected to forge a connection with their leader. He is as dangerous as he is handsome. I freaking loved this book.
Good.
It was so good, and it was such an easy read. I felt like it really helped with the reading slump.
Sometimes having something easy is nice to break that up.
Definitely.
Yeah. My last read before Words of Radiance, I think, was probably sort of the same. It was Air Awakens by Elise Kova. And she also wrote the Married to Magic series.
Okay.
So, which I think is maybe adult. I'm assuming that one is adult fantasy romance. And this one was definitely YA. But it was cute. I liked it. They have like a writing notes back and forth thing, which kind of reminded me of of Divine Rivals or something. So there's some like kind of cute banter in the notes going back and forth, which I really enjoyed. And even at the end of the first book, I didn't really know who all to trust, which I liked. There was still some of uncertainty a little bit on, I don't know, where it was going to go. And a lot of the I don't like anybody but you vibes, which was fun.
We like that.
And I really liked how book one ended setting up for book two. I felt like that was a really clean way to transition. So I was happy with how that went about. But I do wish I had gotten just a little bit further in like the plot or the magic of book one. So this book has elemental magic. People have elemental magic. Not everybody, but just some people.
Yeah.
And our main character learns that she has air magic, as you can imagine, by Air Awakens. And she's like the first person with air magic in a lot of years, a lot of generations. They were basically wiped out in the past from like political reasons.
Interesting.
And so now she's all of a sudden like finding she has power pretty late in life compared to when you're supposed to. And so she's now transitioning from like working in the library to now trying to figure out what to do with air and going down that path. But
it was really good.
Yeah, it was good. I enjoyed it. I'm a lot of the way through the second book. I'll have to look and see. I think I'm maybe like 70 or 80% of the way through the second book. So
that's awesome.
Yeah.
That sounds really good. And clearly we need something that'll help us like keep reading.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. My last one on my most recent TBR is My Dark Beast by Olivia Wildenstein. I got this as an ARC from NerdFam. Thank you, NerdFam. And I loved this book. This was the Hades and Persephone / Sleeping Beauty. And I loved it. It was so fun.
Good.
And there were just some twists. And basically in the whole book, they're like, he's in a dream state and they come together in their dreams. And so he can like pull her out of consciousness to like come be in his dream. But sometimes his dreams will turn into nightmares and he's gone and she is stuck in his nightmare.
That does sound really good.
It was so good and it was so fun and I loved the way that it wrapped up, and it's definitely setting up for the rest of the series and like who's going to be the main focus of the next series or the next sequel to this. But yeah, I really liked it. I felt like this was a really fun one.
Nice. Do you know how many books it's projected to be?
I don't know, actually. Nope, and she doesn't say.
Oh, that's okay. I was just curious if she had already said if it was going to be like a trilogy or what.
She might have, but it's not on here. But anyway, it was really good. I highly recommend it.
Nice. That's a good one. All right, my read before Air Awakens was None of This Is True by Lisa Jewell.
Oh, you finished it. We haven't spoken since you finished it.
Yeah. So this is a thriller, and it's basically about a woman, a really, really crazy, psychotic woman who kind of creeps you out and wears way too much denim.
Denim.
But we have a character who has a podcast that she hosts, talking to women who have like done really impressive things. And basically she is at a dinner having a birthday dinner with her friends and meets another woman who happens to also be there, and it's also her birthday. And then
birthday twin.
Yeah, birthday twin. And then they learn that not only do they have the same birthday, they were actually born in the same hospital on the same day. And so this woman becomes a little bit obsessed with the podcast host, and then it convinces her basically to do a podcast about her. But as the story is developing and as she's doing this podcast now, as they're working on this podcast together, things get real weird. And I'll just kind of leave it at that. But yeah, I was a big fan. We did talk about this. Yeah. You listened to it and I read the physical copy. And if you're thinking about reading it, I would highly recommend doing either Kindle or physical, because there is some formatting of like jumping back and forth. They have these little excerpt clips from the podcast and then like the Netflix special, basically, that is being written on this whole situation. And if you don't see that formatting breaking, I think you had a harder time really following along.
Yeah. I definitely did. And like some things didn't hit as hard. And I remember when we were talking about it, you were like, oh, what'd you think about this part? And I was like, it didn't really make a difference to me because I was listening to it. And so I didn't realize that it had like broken up and that it was something else. And so I feel like if I would have read a physical copy, I would have rated it a little higher. Yeah. And because it was interesting, because like you really liked it, right?
Yeah, I gave it 4 stars. I liked it for sure.
Because I think I only gave it 3 and I was like, it was okay.
I liked it. And I thought the ending, I really didn't know exactly where it was going to go.
Oh, yeah. I felt like I was so lost.
Wild. Yeah, it was good. So, yeah, 4 stars for None of This Is True. I always like a good thriller.
Me too. And I feel like reading a thriller is a really good way to break up a lot of fantasy romance. Yep. And we've been doing so much of that recently.
We have. Yeah.
Maybe that would help my reading slump if I were to just like pick up a really quick thriller.
Yeah, thrillers definitely help as a palate cleanser.
And even book club was kind of saying that they were looking for maybe a little something too, like a romance or something. I'm like, maybe I should just pick up a different genre.
Yeah. Yeah, I will say the other palate cleanser I had done right before that was just a more explicit romance.
Oh, was it the one about the roommates? What was
Nanny for the Neighbors.
The Nanny. Nanny for the
Which is kind of the silliest name, but yeah, it was really cute. I'll be honest, I liked it. Here, I can.
It was really spicy.
Yeah, this was Nanny for the Neighbors. I read that one on my Kindle. It was fast, and even just on the cover it says, I can't even say with a straight face.
Really?
A surprise baby reverse harem romance.
That is so interesting.
I did give it 4 stars. Yeah, I enjoyed it.
Oh my God, that is hilarious.
It was a book, like a late night read and in bed kind of book.
But didn't you read it in like one day?
Yeah, probably.
It goes back to when you were talking about what's on your Kindle, like the spicy books.
Yeah, that was the spicy book on my Kindle. It was good though. Yeah. I enjoyed it. I had a good time. It was a good palate cleanser.
So awesome. Yeah. Do you have anything else that you've been reading recently or that you finished recently, I guess?
Yeah, I mean, I think it was still pretty recently that I read, probably since the last time we've done this, both Calamity and Fiasco. That's by Constance Fay. I got an arc for Fiasco. I think that comes out the beginning of June-ish. Pretty sure. I'll have to double check on the date there. But they're sci-fi romances. And I love them. If you watched Firefly when you were younger, I don't know if you ever watched that show.
I didn't.
It was like an early 2000s, I don't know, found family space opera, I guess. I don't know.
Space opera?
I don't know. It's like a, not opera like singing, like a, I don't know. I don't know the word I was looking for, but yeah, it's like, you know, a hobbled together ship and a unlikely crew, you know, of like misfits that are together and have a bond. And so we get a lot of that vibes in these two. And I loved the Firefly show. So this really hit home for me. Definitely. And I loved Fiasco too. I gave both of them 5 stars. Really liked them.
Oh, that's awesome.
They were super cute. Yeah, it had everything I wanted out of it. They've got cute pets, forced proximity. It's like a good, exciting storyline with just the right amount of sci-fi elements. It's like not super heavy sci-fi. Unexpected twists. There's a lot of tension and banter.
Oh, I love that.
Saved from the nightmare. Yeah, it was a good read for sure. Big fan. So that comes out June, and those were really good too.
That's so exciting.
Yeah,
I love it. I love it. That's pretty much all I have on my most recent finished books.
What are you working on right now?
So the first one I want to talk about, because I knew this was going to be my cup of tea, but I knew it wasn't probably going to be yours. A Study in Drowning.
Yeah. That's Ava Reed, right?
Yes. It's by Ava Reed, and it has been so good so far.
Good.
It's like, it kind of feels like One Dark Window a little bit with like the dark gothic vibes. It's basically a student at like a really great university is chosen to be an architect for a late author's house. And so basically it's going through what she's going through there. And I'm really not that far into the book. I'm probably like a fifth into the book, but it's been really good so far. And I've been really wanting to like pick it up every night and read it. And it's super quick and easy and fun. And yeah, I'm really enjoying it. It's definitely those like dark, like gothic vibes though.
Like dark academia kind of in that realm. Nice.
Yeah, but I'm really enjoying it so far.
Good. Oh, I love that.
What do you got on right now?
One of the books I'm reading right now is 5 Broken Blades. This comes out on May 7th. So this probably will already be out by the time this episode comes out. I'm almost all the way through it. As you can see, I think I'm maybe 80% of the way through it, maybe more than that, 400 pages in. But I've been a really big fan. I think as of right now, I'm feeling pretty good that this will be at least like maybe 4.5 stars.
Oh my gosh.
I think it's going to be a really good one. There's a handful of different characters in there, 6 main characters in there with, I don't know, varying relationships with each other in different ways. And it's kind of the, again, like unlikely allies and kind of forced together to try and accomplish a shared mission. And I kind of don't want to get too much more into it than that because I don't want to ruin it. Yeah, and you're about to start it. But basically, all of these different people have been selected is a strong word. There are people scheming to try and kill the king. Ooh. And these 6 people are all kind of in on that plot to try and kill the king. Ooh. And they all have different skills and come from different backgrounds and stuff. And it's been really good. It was a really fast read. But I like it.
I'm so excited to start it.
It's been good. So I'm a big fan. So thank you, Red Tower, for the copy of this book. But we've been liking it. I'm excited for you to start it.
I'm so excited to start it. And keep your eye out because we will be doing a podcast episode on it.
Yeah, that one we'll probably be doing an episode coming up soon.
Oh, so keep your eye out for that. I'm so pumped to start that one. The next one that I'm reading is The Day Burns Bright by Amber Palmer. And that one is the second book in the Wicked Dark duology. And so this is her second series. I'm like 25% of the way through, and I just kind of feel like not a whole lot has really happened yet. And
sad boy. He's a sad boy.
He's a sad boy for most of it. And yeah, there's just not a whole lot that's really happened yet. And so I guess what are you thinking? Yeah,
I am also reading The Day Burns Bright. I'm a lot further. I'm probably 75% of the way through that book. There was a big twist in maybe around the 50% mark, and I'm not quite sure how I feel about that twist yet. Yeah. So we'll see how it concludes, see how it wraps up, and if it hits a little bit better for me. But yeah, I'm still feeling it out a little bit.
Yeah. Wonderful. Well, my next book is an audiobook that I've been listening to, and I've been listening to this entire series, and I can't get enough of it. Yeah. It's called A Crown This Cold and Heavy by Stacia Stark. Yeah. And the only reason that I'm not further along is because I'm out of Spotify listening time. Because I literally listened to the first 2 books and I couldn't put it down, and it was so good. It's A Court This Cruel and Lovely. Yeah. It's the sequel to that.
Yeah, and you said you really liked the narration too, right?
Yeah, it's really good. It's been such a good read, and I literally cannot wait. But I'm out of my Audible for the month. I'm out of my Spotify listening, and I'm like, maybe I just need to download it on my Kindle and just finish it out there. Yeah, because it's so good.
Oh, I'm glad you've been liking it that much. That's awesome.
I have, and it's funny because like it seems really similar to some of the other books I've been reading recently, like the one that I finished. Why do I not have it on here? Oh, The Kingdom of Blood and Salt. It seems really similar to that with like the fantasy romance aspects and everything. But I don't know. I'm burning through them. I am loving them.
Good. Oh, that's super fun. Yeah. One of the other books I'm working on right now, well, I just started. I think I'm only 6 chapters in, but I'm actually listening to an arc of Keeper of Scarlet Petals.
Oh.
And I think it's the same. I need to look up the name. I'm pretty sure it's the same narrator as the Cruel Prince trilogy.
Yeah.
And I actually really liked the narrator for that. And I'm kind of picky on narration. But yeah, I'm really enjoying the narration so far. It's like I said, I'm only a few chapters in, so not too much has happened yet. But it does kind of remind me of the Cruel Prince a little bit, even beyond the narration. It's kind of got like a little bit of similar energy there.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah, so we'll see what I think as I get a little bit further along. I just started that. I just got that one recently.
Oh my gosh, I love it.
I just started that.
Is that helping change your mind about audiobooks at all?
Some. Yeah, I'm a little bit hit or miss. I have a hard time paying close enough attention to audiobooks. So I like really have to be in the right mindset for them.
Yeah. I totally get that.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm forced to pay attention to them because I listen to audiobooks in the car all the time.
And so you're not doing anything else.
Yeah. And since I have like an hour drive back and forth,
you have a lot of
work,
time for audiobooks.
Exactly. Which is so nice that I have like the free Spotify. They give you like 15 hours a month. But when you burn through them so fast, I'm like, oh gosh.
Yep, I get that. Well, that's what happened. I still am actually apparently looking at my notes here, only 20% in to The Wicked King, which is the second book in the Folk of the Air series with the Cruel Prince. And it was because I ran out of Spotify listening time. And then I just and then I guess the month ended and I got renewed and I just never went back.
Yep.
So
I feel like that happens.
Yeah. So that, I guess technically that one's in the works too.
Right? I know. I still have not even picked up the third one in that because I finished The Wicked King, but I have not picked up the third one. I kind of forgot about it.
Yeah.
Oh, whoops.
Yeah, it happens. It happens. Get distracted.
I know.
Yeah. The only other book I'm reading right now, well, actively reading, I guess, is Fire Falling, which is the second book in Air Awakens. I think I mentioned that a little bit earlier. But I am feeling a little bit sad because there's nothing wrong with it for sure, but I just find myself not picking it up.
Yeah.
So even though I'm like most of the way through it, I think I'm probably like 80% in that one also. So hopefully I'll just like sit down and finish it. But there is one more book in I think it's a trilogy. So I don't know. I guess we'll see what happens with it from there. It's not been bad though. I just think there's other things I'm more excited to read recently.
That's such a bummer sometimes too, because I had the same exact feeling with The Starling House. That was the one that was supposed to be, it's like about somebody getting a job at a haunted house. And I was so excited to read it. Like it sounded right up my alley. And I DNF'd it at like 40% because I was like, I think I just wasn't in the mood to read it. And it wasn't, I was expecting something a lot more horror like, and it was just kind of like the backstory about everything. And so I feel like sometimes you really just have to be in a mood to read a certain book. You
do, because that's how I felt. I don't even know if I've mentioned it, I guess, on the podcast, but I had started reading The Emperor's Bone Palace, which was the second book in I don't remember the name of the series, but it was The Princess Poison Vow was the first one.
Yes.
And I gave that 4.5 stars last year, and it was one of my top reads of the year. But I think that's kind of what happened to me. I think I picked up the second book I think I wasn't the right vibe for what I was looking for at the time. I'm too moody of a reader.
Yeah. So
it's not even that it was bad, and I probably will go back and read it at another time, but I was just having a hard time getting into it.
Right. And that's such a bummer, because when people say like, oh, this book is so good, I want to love it so much. Yeah. And so it's such a bummer when I am not in the mood to read it.
Yeah, I definitely get that.
You know what I am really excited to read though?
Yeah.
A Fate Inked in Blood.
Yeah, finally. I pre-ordered that one so many months ago, and then when it came in with the pretty shiny edges, I was very happy.
And this one, when I saw your shiny edges, I was like, oh my god, I meant to pre-order it. I meant to get it. I was so bummed because I didn't think that I would find like the first edition of it. I found one at Target. Thank you, Target. And so I am so excited, and we are actually doing this for our May book club.
Yes. Yeah. For May book club, we'll be doing that month. We're having our actual meeting on the very end of the month. If you're in Denver, May 31st, it's a Friday. We're planning on doing it in a park in downtown Denver. It's going to be awesome.
I am so excited.
I've heard nothing but good things from
Me
that
too.
book, so.
I have been also seeing this all over TikTok, and people are saying that they
really
are
like it.
loving it.
Yeah. I've heard his accent is like really cute in it. And I've also heard the narration is really good for that. If people like audiobooks, I've heard the narration is really good. So I might listen to the first couple chapters just so I can hear how I'm supposed to pronounce it.
Right? I know. I was also thinking, because I love listening to audiobooks, I was thinking of maybe doing like a full read and then listening to the
after.
audiobook. Because I did that with our ACOTAR rereads when we were going through it. I was like, I'll just listen to it and see if I catch anything different. And I felt like I actually caught a lot.
Yeah. Oh, good.
Yeah. So we'll see. Maybe I'll do both of them.
Fun.
What's up next for you on your TBR?
Yeah. Well, following up from Words of Radiance, I originally thought I was just supposed to go straight into Oathbringer, which is the third book in the series, and learned that I was very wrong. Apparently, a lot of people recommend that you read Warbreaker before you were supposed to read Words of Radiance. So I'm a little bit out of there. It's not the same series. It's a standalone. And I've heard that this is the most romantic of any of Brandon Sanderson's books. Aww. And a lot of people even say this is supposed to be a good starting point too, sort of, for Brandon Sanderson if you haven't read him before. So I'm going to try and mix that in before Oathbringer. And then kind of on the same note, Edge Dancer is just a novella. So it's 2.5 book 2.5 in the Stormlight Archives. Cute. So the novella in between Words of Radiance and Oathbringer. So both of those kind of together before I can continue with the rest of the Stormlight Archive. But those are definitely coming up soon.
Cute. And something else that we're trying to do for the podcast relatively soon as well is another Brandon Sanderson standalone. It's Tress of the Emerald Sea. And you're just this is your year of Sanderson.
Last year was my year of Sanderson too, man. I'm a fan. He's like the only male author that I read.
I love it.
I don't have very many male authors that I read. Him and Blake Crouch, those are like the only ones.
Oh, I love it.
Which I guess awesome. On that note.
Yeah.
On that note, I'll talk about the other book that I have coming. I've read all of Blake Crouch's like standalones, like Recursion and Dark Matter, Upgrade, those ones. But I haven't read the Pines trilogy yet. So
it's a trilogy.
It is. Yeah, I only have the first one. But yeah, it's more of, he does
awesome.
Kind of like sci-fi thriller type stuff. It's like sort of in between. So I feel like it's like light sci-fi, heavy thriller, but with some sci-fi elements. But I really like his books too. So I think that that'll be a fun one and hopefully kind of a quick read.
Yeah.
And in a different genre. I like to mix it up.
Oh, I like that too. You also had one of his books in our Reading the Rainbow episode too.
Yeah, I think I did. Probably because Recursion and Dark Matter are both really bright colors.
Yes.
So.
I love it so much.
Yeah.
Okay, next up for moi, I have Ruthless Vows by Rebecca Ross. This is the sequel to Divine Rivals. And I've heard mixed reviews.
Yeah.
I've heard it's a very different book than book one, so it might be closer to up your alley.
Right.
But I loved the romantic aspects of Divine Rivals. And so we'll see. I'm excited, but it's been a couple months and we clearly haven't picked it up yet, but
yeah, I know. I'm going to be curious because I've heard people swing both ways. I've heard some people that like Divine Rivals a lot better than Ruthless Vows, and some people that thought Ruthless Vows was better than Divine Rivals.
Yeah.
So it's not even like one was better than the other.
Yeah.
I think people with different tastes are liking different ones. So I'm curious.
I know, me
curious
too.
to see what we'll think. I'm sure we're going to cover that one sometime soon too.
Yeah, I think so too. But I'm excited to start it because I did love Divine Rivals so much. So
yeah.
So we'll see.
Nice.
What do you have up next?
Oh, so I've got another arc that I just got recently that I'm really excited about. And I had actually already even had a pre-order out for this one, which was exciting. But that's Heavenbreaker by Sarah Wolf. This is also sci-fi. I think Red Tower. Yeah, it's one of the Red Tower sci-fi books. And the first edition is going to have the pretty sprayed edges.
So are you keeping the pre-order? Or did you?
We'll see. I'll read this and then decide.
Yeah.
If I like it, I'll probably keep it. Yeah. Gotta get all the versions. If I like it, I'll buy it in another color. Yeah.
If I like it, I'll just buy it in another color.
Yeah, but I don't know much about this except that it's supposed to be sci-fi, and I love sci-fi.
I know. So. I love it. We're trying to get Shelby into more sci-fi. And
yeah, I just realized that all of the ones that I had pulled are either it's 3 sci-fi books and then Brandon Sanderson, and that's it.
That's hilarious.
I didn't even mean to do that.
Oh my God. That's hilarious.
Okay, well, what's your other book that you've got over there?
Okay, so I literally know like nothing about this one, but we got a box from Nerd Fam with this in it. It's A Curse of Shadows and Thorns by L.J. Andrews, and we got a really pretty hardback of it.
Yeah.
And the PR box that we got had like a candle and a bath bomb, and lip balm. I said those incorrectly, but whatever.
I had a bunch of goodies. I had some really fun goodies.
And so obviously, like, I'm just so pumped to read it. And the cover is absolutely beautiful. So
yeah. Well, for people on YouTube, you got to show them the hard case. It's got artwork wrapped on the hard case. Just gorgeous.
Oh
you don't
gosh.
see that pretty of artwork on that many hard cases.
You know who that looks like? The guy on the cover looks like The Witcher.
Kind of, actually, yeah. Now that you say that, that does. I think it's supposed to be a Viking fantasy romance, or maybe even a dark Viking fantasy romance. I'm pretty sure. And it's 9 books. It's a really long series, which is awesome.
And these are just the new covers and stuff coming out with it, right?
So the books have been out for a couple years, but there was a refresh on the artwork.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah, which is kind of nice because it means you don't have to wait for the next books to release. You can just power through them.
I love that.
Me too.
So Gianni and I are actually like, okay, I'm not really watching the show, but the show that he's watching right now is Vikings. And it is so funny because, so if anybody knows, my last name is Stensgaard. I'm like extremely Norwegian. And I'm like, this was my family. Like, my family were Vikings. They came over on a Viking ship.
I love it.
So anything that's like Norwegian or Viking inspired, I am like, haha, family.
Oh, I love it. That's super fun.
Yeah, it's been really fun. So yeah, I'm super pumped to start that one.
Good. Well, my last one, I know you're excited to read this one too. Excited. Finally, Red Rising.
Finally.
By Pierce Brown. There's a few books out in this series now.
I think there's like 4 or 5.
I think there's 5 now. But another sci-fi book. I've been really excited to read this for a while. This is actually my Christmas present from Shelby because she's known that I really want to read this one. And again, I think this might be a podcast episode coming up soon, but I'm really excited to read that one.
I'm really excited too because people say that that's a really good intro to sci-fi.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Oh, good. Yeah, I'm excited.
Oh, I'm so pumped for it. And I, like, one of the goals that I have this year is to try to, like, get a little bit more into some sci-fi.
Just give it a little taste, a little test.
Because I'm like, I love that we've been, like, rereading, like, A Court of Thorns and Roses and Crescent City and everything. But I'm like, I also want to read different things. So I'm glad that we're
branching out.
Yeah.
I love fun. Don't get me wrong, I love fantasy romance and I love some smutty books, but I definitely like to mix up the genre a little bit.
Yeah. And we've been doing a lot of fantasy romance recently.
We've done a little bit, for sure.
Just trying to branch out. So if you guys have any recommendations, feel free to shoot us an Instagram, TikTok DM.
Yeah.
We're pretty responsive on all socials. So
yeah, we always like to get more suggestions. If you have one that you just read and absolutely loved, or if you're an author and you have a book coming out soon and you want us to give it a try, just let us know. We love to get suggestions from people. We
absolutely do. And just to reiterate, we do a Denver book club. So if you are still around at the end of this podcast and you are interested, definitely shoot us a message and we'll get you added to that group chat. Other than that, or do we have anything else on the...
I think that's it. That's all I got.
I think so too.
It's a
wrap. well, thanks so much, guys, for listening to another episode. And
see you next time.
We'll see you next time. Bye.